guest today, camera is his pulpit, the cinema is his gospel. Midway to most of these films that you must have shouted, "See shot." This is the guy behind it. This is my friend, my boss, and my colleague in creating magic. Please make welcome Bishop C. Brotherly.
Oh, you're just dropping lines and bars.
You have done amazing work with the camera. Camera being in your hand, like I said, it's you capturing moment. From the beginning, how did you know it was the camera?
So I wouldn't really say I know how I got involved in this kind of business, because growing up as a child, I never had that trace. There was
nothing to show
there
that
was
you were
nothing.
interested in
Although my dad was, my dad is a creative, he's a writer.
Yeah.
He used to paint, he used to draw, he worked as a journalist. He's a creative man, but during the time I started, getting a little bit wiser, understanding, my environment, I didn't see him do all those things, So I wouldn't really say something inspired me.
Yeah.
It was just pure chance. I was a stubborn kid growing up in Warri and caused a lot of trouble. And my daddy just came one day in the night, came with the night bus in the morning. He just appeared and he said, "I'm taking you out of Warri." And he just took me out of Warri. He took me to Jos and he just, he went to the film school later on in his life. And I thought film school was for old people. And he told me, "What if you go to the film school?" I said, "Me go to the film school? No, I can't go to the film school for old people." So I didn't know what I was going to do. I finished secondary school at that time, and he was like, "Go to the film school." I said, "No, I want to do mass comm." Everybody say mass communication was really mass communication. I said, "I want to do mass comm or theater art." I didn't even know what those mean, because my process is very slow. But one day he heard me singing. Although I love music a lot,
There's this patois thing about you while you are setting up, you were on a road trip and all that. You Rastafarian kind of something.
Yeah, I've always been conscious. Reggae music made me a conscious person, made me very observant of life, made me very, the lyrics made me Pan-African. Let me use that word. Made me understand, Africanism. So I grew up in Warri where reggae music was the core. I used to hang out in a place called Culture Garden and we used to play a lot of reggae music.
Nice.
So I got exposed to reggae music at a very young age. So one of those evenings I was singing Bob Marley in the bathroom. And maybe I got out, maybe he just had an idea. Maybe I got out with my towel. He just say, "Oh, they will teach you how to sing music in the film school if you go to the film school." I was like, I want to go.
This is where I belong.
The next week, he got a form for me, and that was how I found myself in Jos. I found myself in National Film Institute, and I was doing a professional diploma, a 3 years professional diploma, and that was how I was in that school for 2.5 years. There was no music. I was just there. I was just passion. I was just gallivanting, partying, cruising. But because of my consciousness, I was a little bit responsible. So I could go to class, I could attend lectures. I was just understanding the film environment because my daddy money must not waste.
You have to show that, yes, I'm responding to this.
So that was how I was just there and I was doing those things, attending workshops and being a part of class practicals because I needed to get my marks.
Yeah, exactly.
But one day I was in my hostel. And one guy came, Leonard Mfomi, who was a senior student and colleague. And he just walked into our hostel and, I remember that day I was sat in the entrance with the steps and he just said, "What are you doing later in the evening? They are shooting a film in the girls' hostel. Will you like to go?" I said, "Girls' hostel. Oh yeah,
let's go.
Of course, I'll be there." It's always that exciting. And when I got there, they were shooting there. I held this 500 watt halogen lamp. I know many people won't understand what 500 watt halogen lamp. Those halogen lamp. The flat one, even the redhead. I held it for them. They needed hands. And in that process, I saw this cameraman filming. The way he came through the fence, and followed somebody who scaled through the fence and ran into the dark.
Whoa.
That was the first time I actually saw this.
Happening.
I love, I was inspired. I like this challenge. Let me, So I got my late brother, may so rest in peace, and I told him, I want to shoot something, and we just wrote it. I gave him an idea, a small snippet, and he came up with a story, and I shot it, And
From seeing that.
Yes, and during that time, I was already graduating, so I was already finishing my 3 years professional diploma. So I was already asking myself, so what will I say I've done? What will I say I can do in this school? If I go out there now, what will I show my daddy? What will I show? So I was already having those thoughts. And I shot that film called Checkpoint, and immediately I did another small commercial as well. So I used that film as my final year project. And Kenneth Gang saw it. Kenneth Gang is a famous director now. So he used to stay up in our hostel. He was a senior student. So he was staying upstairs in my hostel, and he saw it. He even acted in it, so he was there when we were shooting. So he supported in playing one or two of the crowd scenes, and he sent me a message, say, if you continue like this, just as I'm narrating, that's exactly what the message was. If you continue like this, you will turn out to be one of the best filmmakers we have around. Bravo Simo. But then the message didn't make too much sense to me, but somehow I kept that message in my phone for almost 6 years. Wow. Yes, that message was still in my phone. My Nokia phone, and that encouraged me. But after I finished that film, I graduated. I was about 21. My dad thought I was
very
too young. Yeah, my dad said, "You're still a young man. What are you going to do in the industry? Come on, re-enroll for the degree program." And that was how I re-enrolled to do another 3 years bachelor's degree. And in that time, that's why new students came in, people who wanted to make films, people came with the zeal, like people like Daniel Rai, Yemi Morafa, Eti Mefiong, even you at that time too, So that was when people came in and, so I mingled and, we started working. So it became a passion.
Yeah.
So my phase of being a cameraman is in 3 phases. So one is the passion, one is understanding the profession. Right?
Yeah.
And the other one is understanding what I want to be as a, understanding what kind of films do I want to make? What is my what is my story? What is my perspective? What am I adding to the world as an artist? So that was the first part, that passion. So my first involvement with the camera, my first involvement in film was just passion. I just created the passion. So I was, I was even directing at that time, and gradually I, became a cinematographer. I was directing one of the class projects one day, and somehow I wasn't really too happy about how I was being shot. And I got back to the class and I told them I want to handle the camera. And that was how I started shooting. Gradually, I started meeting people who were guiding me. David Uro, Pin them, just people like that. Yeah. And one thing is to have the passion, the other thing is to practice. So I really loved it.
I've always known you as a guy who just, I just want to do this.
Yeah. So gradually then, I now moved to Lagos. I graduated, hot blood, came back. And,
let's get to Lagos and get them.
Yeah, and we came. My own story is, but I'm going to get there. Yeah. But the next phase was understanding the profession. So I when I came to Lagos, I started shooting. I worked as a camera assistant for a while when I came to Lagos.
For real.
Another thing again is humility. I remember I met somebody in Jos who saw me, and I was about graduating TJT. His name is TJT. He's a cinematographer, and I asked him about Lagos system, and he told me one thing. He said, the only way you can survive in Lagos, like you that's coming from a film school, because Lagos, most people got into this thing as trade,
so apprentice and stuff.
Somebody from a film school may feel like a threat in certain ways, and I took that advice very seriously. And nobody knew that I could handle camera. Nobody knew I could shoot. So I tried to keep a low profile. I tried to, very humble, and that was how they carried me along. I worked as camera assistant, I work as coffee boy, I work as production assistant with cinematographers, so all those are the things to That's, you know,
With
and
with all the knowledge that you had.
and I had a lot of friends too who came as cinematographers. They were cinematographers, you know. But me, I took the advice and that was part of what, you know, propelled me, prepared me. I incubated my skills. I learned more, and when it was time for me to prove myself, I had that chance.
What was your first project in Lagos?
My first project, I can't really remember my first project. I was paid
as a cinematographer.
I did my IT in Lagos.
Okay.
I did my IT in Lagos, and I think in that time doing my IT, I got a job to film a concert in Calabar Carnival. You know. I wouldn't say that as my first, but that's actually the first I can remember because I got paid, you know, to work as a camera assistant.
Was the thing then Calabar Festival?
Calabar Festival, yeah. So the next one was, you know, I shot something when I came. I shot a film, and somebody saw it. One director saw it, and he liked it, and he sent for me. And I remember that day. I don't know him, but when he sent for me, the director told me, "Hey, that guy, go a house, go meet him." So I remember that day. I entered. I was tucked in with a long sleeve shirt. I folded it with my short dreadlocks, and I had my camera hanging on my shoulder. And immediately I opened the door. Immediately I knocked on that, and he opened the door, and he looked at me, and he scaled me. And the first word he said was, you actually look like a cinematographer."
I want to talk about your dress sense.
You know.
So all the time we were working together, you were never cut on fresh. You were always dressed the part. What influenced that? Up till now, Bishop,
I think
your pictures from those days, and now you see that Baba is keeping the thing. What was the motivation to that?
I don't know. Maybe it's just my style, but coincidentally, this story I'm about to tell, it's further influenced that. Because when the guy opened the door, the first thing he said, "You look like a cinematographer," because I was tucked in and I was, you know, carrying my camera, and he opened the door and he said that, and he said, "Come on in." And the first thing he did was he went straight to his box. He brought out a pen and he said he's going for a recce. That you know, I'm a cinematographer. Okay, he wants to shoot something, and he took me for a recce, just like that. After I said that word, we drove around, entered the location. He took me around the location. And wants to shoot the film. You know, it's a short film he wants to shoot. And when we got back into his house, he didn't see anything. He just went straight to his decks. He opened his drawer, brought out a jotter, and gave me a pen. And it's okay, sketch out the location where we go and give me your camera blockings and everything. And I was just looking at this. Is me that I've spent 6 years in the film school. I was just looking at him moping. I didn't even know what to do. And he laughed. He just took it. I know what I said. He said, you're not grown enough to be my cinematographer, but I'm going to bring a cinematographer from India. His name was Viraj Singh, and you're going to learn from me because I love what you do, and there's something about you that I saw, and I felt I could encourage you. And he sketched out. His name is Bolaji Akran, and he sketched out the location, showed me his camera blockings, camera spots, like a bird's eye view, you know. And when I went to him, I sketched my whole area. I sketched like I was just fascinated about that thing. He had learned something for me, and he gave me a book called Cinematography, you know. And that was the book I read, and I saw great cinematographers, you know, how they dress, how they walk, their stories, their inspirations. And I read that book, and that was what changed me. And I realized that this cinematography, the camera is not just, you don't just carry the camera and call yourself a cinematographer.
There's a way to
look. It is a profession.
There's a way to behave. It's a full package.
It's a style, it's a lifestyle, you know. So that is the other stage. First is the passion. Now is understanding that this is a profession. It's not just
you don't just
carry camera and run around, you know. So that really inspired me. Then the third phase was I was shooting. Somebody called me and said that there's a DOP who's coming into Lagos and he's going to be shooting a film, and they want me to work as a camera assistant. I was like, why not? You know. and his name was Jim Bishop, and Mildred Oko was directing. That's the meeting, you know.
Yeah.
And I got to the address they gave me, and he already had 3 camera assistants. They were setting up the camera, and so he checked my reel in my phone, you know, and like he liked my work, but production cannot afford an extra camera, you know, assistant and stuff. I tried to beg me, like, okay, don't worry, some other time and stuff like that. And he said I should talk to the director. And I remember I walked out and I saw Mildred Oko. She was making a call, you know, outside the studio somewhere in Oregon. And I told her that, I would love to work. And she was like, oh, sorry, there's no other space. I should keep in touch, and, you know. And she turned and was walking away. And I was like, no, I didn't come all this way to just go home like that. And I just ran to her again and asked her, sorry, ma, do you have a camera, a clapperboard person? She said, no, okay. I think we can, have you done it before? I said, yes, I've done it before, you know, and I can do it. I said, but there's no budget. So I said, I will work for free. He said, no, sir, you go and say I did not pay you in the industry. He said, so I will pay you no matter how small. I agreed to collect it. I collected that job.
Bishop that has already been making a film. Went to a location to be a clapperboard.
Yeah. At that time, I already won an award, Best Directing at the Zuma. And I was already, you know, a bachelor degree holder in cinematography. But you see, all those things doesn't really mean anything. I'm driving somewhere with that.
I get you.
So I took that job and I did the job. And when the DOP started working, and I observed how they were working, came with 2 Kenyan other guys, the gaffer and focus puller, and I saw the way they worked, and they were very organized. And this was 2012, you know. And when the guy after the end of the shoot, I walked up to Jim and I asked Jim that, I love the way you work. Can you be my mentor? You know, Jim said, man, sorry, I can't mentor you because I'm in Kenya, you're in Nigeria, it's going to be difficult. But there's a program in Kenya, I won't find a film. Why not you apply for it and see if you can make it? And I applied for it, and that was how I got a ticket leaving Nigeria for the first time. I got 2 weeks, you know,
to stay in Kenya.
2 weeks to stay in Kenya and attending a workshop with students of all over Africa, with the German cinematographer Frank Blau was our mentor, and that was when I discovered my point of view. You know, it opened my eyes to, okay, what kind of story do you want to tell as a person? What do you want the world to know you for? That was it. So in the long run, all these old things is humility, you know, passion, drive. I even wrote about it, called you know, Guardian Angels, you know, and 3 times for humility. If you follow me on Instagram, you see I put them there so that people can actually learn from my story. So that was how I found myself here today, being a cameraman. And in all this process, in all this whole journey, from the passion to discovering the profession, to understanding my style, it's I started reflecting, you know, and I realized that my journey, my purpose in this world is to document. My purpose in this world is to be a cameraman, because all the works I've done, everything I do, like me now, I'm the only guy in my area that has pictures of everybody. Anywhere I stay, I can have pictures. Oh, sorry, this person is dead. Oh, we're looking for a picture. I will just check my archive and I have it.
Yeah,
you know. So
Burkina Babes.
Yeah,
is that how it came about?
Yeah, Burkina Babes is similar to that as well too. So I did a documentary on my father, who actually kind of helped, you know, deepen this my purpose, or deepen my understanding of pictures and the values of picture, because he worked as a journalist in the 1970s and 80s in Pendle State.
That's great.
Yeah, and in that time, he take pictures of everybody in interviews. So he documented the DJ era, you know, the music artists, you know, entertainment. Was an entertainment journalist. He was a news hound. He was everywhere in the clubs, in the joints. He knows all the musicians by name and all the bands. So he had pictures. So I did a documentary about him and his time, because all those pictures are no more, no documentation, but he had them in his scrapbook. And I turned all of them to a visual documentary about him. And I went to, the documentary was screened in a festival in Burkina Faso. And I entered Burkina Faso with my camera hanging on my shoulder. And immediately I landed from the airport, I realized there were more bikes than cars on the street. So I started taking pictures of these bikes, and I realized that majority of these bike riders were women. And I started taking pictures of these women. And when I got back to Nigeria after a while, I started looking at these pictures, and I decided to, do a story about them, about the society, how the society influenced me, how the pictures, connect to my reality as an African. And the next thing I saw, that picture got me on a first class ticket to London, screening these same pictures in the BFI.
Wow.
And those same pictures I took, that same documentary, got me on another flight to be screening this same film in Burkina Faso in Fespaco. So I see myself as I call myself a cameraman now because I believe that is my purpose,
Beautiful.
to document moments, to document existence. And
So Bishop is equal to tenacity. Bishop is equal to power, like power to work. What I mean by that is you have never said it cannot work. I have never heard you in the time we were working that it cannot work. What I would rather hear is, you know what, let's try it this way. What influenced that strength in you to never give up?
I don't know. I think it's just part of me because I've always been this guy that has always never give up. Let me use that word. I always like to try. And there's one thing I believe very strongly, that when there's a will, there's a way. Because think about it. Somebody sat down and made a plane flying. And sometimes when I'm in the plane, you're crossing continents in the midnight. And you look at the time, it's 3 a.m., 12 a.m. And you're asking yourself, see where you are this time. Somebody made that
to happen.
So I believe where there's a will, there's a way. And I always try to bring that, spirit on set when I'm working with people I work with, because it has to be, everybody's work has to come together. There's no impossibility, because immediately you say it is not possible. You've shut out.
It brings out a blockage already.
You've already blocked out that thing, So when there's a will, there's always a way.
It's safe to call you the king of boys, because you are. There's a load of I can't count with my fingers how many people have their stories hinged to you. Like, I know Obairi, there are a lot of people you pulled in that are professionals, top class professionals right now. When we did learning curve, there are people you pulled in that were rookies that are top class professionals right now.
Living funeral.
Living funeral. Like the electrician who worked with us in Living Funeral had never done film. But in the third day, he knew what to do after 1 hour. Like, what gives you that belief in people? Like, you're king of boys, not fishers of men. Yeah. What gives you that belief? There's this. I'm honest. I can't count the number. I know the people I'm talking of. That you believe in them. You push them. Yeah, I'm part of the people. Like you say, girls, Moduam. Bari, it was crazy. It was muddy. It was rainy. It's safe to say we made the first trendy, powerful epic, Yoruba epic in Nigeria. What was the push?
I don't think there's this particular. I can't really say there's anything particular, but
you believe in people.
Yeah, it is spontaneous. It's a way of life. It's a way of life because, time on earth is short. And why will you go spend 3 weeks shooting a film and you're not giving it your best, you know what you can do with 3 weeks. Like if you sit in your office not doing anything and you're just thinking, you're going to come up with loads of ideas on that board.
Yes.
So if you're now putting it into a project,
Yeah.
it has to be something that must be worth it for 3 weeks. And not, and see, one of the thing about our job is you're working with actors. Now you talked about an electrician who hasn't done film before, but is bringing his time.
Yes.
You know, you're working with, you know, people's money. Producer has put their money there. You know, and you're working with other people, your team, your gaffer, your grip, everybody who believes in you, right? So that means all their time, it depends on what you do. Because they could look at the work now and like, I would think they waste our time for all this time. And they look at the work and like, wow, this, I was part of this, you know. So everything is just like intertwined. People's time, people's energy, you have to value all those things. And you have to value your own time. I don't like people wasting my time. So that's why when I'm working with people that are not serious, I don't need you around, because you're wasting my time and you're waiting other people's time. You could go do something something that you love with that time.
If you're not in this space,
if you're not loving this thing, you know, just step aside and do good to something so that you don't waste people's time. So I think it's a way of life, and it's like a philosophical, you know, understanding of how things should be. When you're being paid to do something, somebody's money is involved, and you must put in your best. You must have value for your time. So I wouldn't say there's a special thing that pushes it. It's by default. If I'm working on a project when I have a truckload, or I'm working on a project when I have just a camera, it's the same energy.
I know that. I know
you
that.
know.
Your time on King of Boys, how was it?
My what?
Your time on when you're shooting for King of Boys.
King of Boys. Yeah, King of Boys is a different experience on its own. It's one of those projects you learn. You know, you learn new things, you learn new ropes, you experience, you know, your growth. And you begin to know that, oh yeah, this is a, you know, there's a level to things I want to do again and stuff like that, because I'm even conceptualizing, you know, kind of a write-up that I titled Life Before KOB. So it's like my profession before King of Boys, because King of Boys was, I put a full stop to certain kind of, you know,
stuff,
operations after I finished King of Boys, because I saw that as a moving to the next level. King of Boys was big. From King of Boys, my followers on Instagram grew. Like if I tell you I shot this, and you say, "What? I've heard about that. I shot this. I've heard about that. I shot King of Boys." Everybody readjust. You know, King of Boys put me in the British Cinematographer magazine. You know, and many other big magazines across the world, like you know, Cool Cow, like the Cook Optics magazine. You know, so King of Boys.
Cook.
It was a big change in my life. So I appreciate the experience. You know, working with Kemi was a very, you know, different experience. You know, and it also put a bench on. It made me realize that from here, your work can be seen all over the world. So you don't really need to migrate to Asia or to Europe or America.
You can stay here and do wonders.
From here, your work can, you know, go anywhere. So King of Boys made me sit up that, so my work can be seen everywhere from here. So I appreciate the opportunity, and I learned from it.
I was speaking to someone from the US and said, "Oh yeah, we love Nigerian films, but we only seen two." I was like, "Which one?" He said, "King of Boys and Oloture." I was like, "Oh really?"
Oh, okay, good.
I almost claimed that I was on King of Boys.
Nice.
And then you made a film, Broken Marks.
Yeah.
Like I saw the film, I was like, "No, let me start again," and then I watched it again, and beyond the theme, there's this artistic way you communicated. Like, tell us about the inspiration and how you were able to tie this artistic element together.
Yeah. So What I do, right? I'm a cinematographer.
Yeah.
I'm a cameraman. You know, for hire. I work basically, you know, for people. I am to shoot, work on their project.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm also have this skill in directing because I studied directing and how I also live my life too in terms of empowerment, you know, studying, research and stuff. I realized that okay, I had the skill, I could, you know. So I only try to shoot films when I have a story to tell. Like the films I have done, I've directed are stories that are very personal to me. So if you see my works, you understand that my stories are very personal to me. Something that inspired me. I'm like, okay, I want to tell this story. And that was how Broken Mass came up with. So Broken Mass is one of the most personal stories I've done because it touches an area where people always run away from. You know, it's really about child abuse, you know, molestation, and how this thing happen, you know, to young children, and the culprit is mostly somebody very close to them, either an uncle or a cousin or one relative here and there. So somebody close to me one day just said it, you know, that oh, this person is trying to molest. So just because I felt I was in the position to have helped or to have protected that person and stuff, you know, so I felt, this thing you hear on the news every day, this story you see on screen, on YouTube, on Facebook, it's actually closer than you think to anybody, you know. So that thing haunted me for a while. And I started thinking about it and I started writing. That's actually the first script I wrote, you know, as a writer. I started writing. And you know, that was why I started finding healing somehow. And I decided to turn it into a film. And what I tried to do with that film is I tried to create my own karma. Because you see, this issue is you hear the stories, you see the victims, but you never see any punishment. You never see any verdict or anything. And you see, and these kids grow up with this
and they
hate,
carry that baggage,
and they inflict it on the opposite gender, and the society is all in shambles, you know, and you don't know where this root is coming from.
Exactly.
So in my story, I actually did that story to create karma. And the kind of stories I tell, I won't say my films are not happy ending. All the films I've done personally are not happy ending because I don't believe in the reality of happily ever after. Our reality as humans is never happy ever after. So my stories are always sad somehow, you know, sad ending. And also my belief as a Pan-Africanist or as somebody who believes in Africanness, you know, African mythology, you know, African spirituality, it kind of influenced my stories. So I do stories about magical reality. So the film is a very artistic in terms of the character is an artist who makes mask and he believes in, you know, Africanism and, you know, masquerade and stuff. So I try to use that as motives, to tell this story and to create some sort of karma that you could get away with these things, but society, you know, has a way, or the universe has a way. I know many people don't believe in karma. Karma is not really direct the way people think.
Exactly.
You know, people think you do something, you just fall in the pit the next day. No, karma comes in different ways. Like sometimes you don't even notice it.
You don't even know that's what
you don't even know that something has, you know, payback. So I try to create that karma in a very subtle, you know, magical reality way in the film.
Well, apart from the Pan-Africanness, I love the Africanness. You know, I'm a Christian, and I tell people I'm first an African before I became a Christian, and so I'm people-centered. I'm not just a guy who's speaking in tongue and all that stuff, right? Apart from the Africanness, what other thing is your inspiration? What other things drive you? What's your concept about God and spirituality?
I used to be
He's laughing.
I used to be a very strong Christian.
Okay.
I grew up in a Christian home. Not that we're going to church every day, but I know we are Anglicans. My families are Anglicans, and in between because of music. And when I was in secondary school, I followed my friend one day to the Catholic church, and I saw the way they sang the hymns and stuff, and I converted straight to be a Catholic. It was a tug of war with me and my dad at that time, but I eventually started being, in the Catholic church. I went through the catechism, I was baptized, confirmed, I was taking communion. I was that very, until I started questioning concept of colonization. I think basically it was colonization. Like, I started thinking, why people who brought this treated us this way, So from there, I started expanding my thought to other philosophers, I started reading a lot read Bible, read about, Rastafarianism, Buddhism, religious, and I realized that, well, I don't think that is my thing, but I believe that, somebody's responsible for all this. Yeah. Somebody's responsible for me to have a 5 finger. Like, all these things have their personal use, but my belief is not the there is one. My belief is not the universal belief of there is a God on the throne pointing at this. So but I believe that there are forces, so gradually I started questioning myself, questioning those things. But above all, what I believe in humanity. I believe in, humanity. You don't need to be a Christian. You don't need to be a Muslim. You don't need to, to be I don't want to use the word idol worshiper, because there's nothing like idol worshiper. You're traditionalist, or there is, you don't need to be that to be who you are. Some of the good people I know, the best people that I know in this world,
you're not attached to any of this.
So I believe in humanity. I believe in society. And so what really inspired me, I'm very observant. What inspires me more is the society, is the streets, is the people you see. You walk around, you see people, you observe their reality, you see the kind ones, you see the evil ones, you see. So you just sum all those and, formulate your own point of view. So mine, I believe more in humanity, because if the world has, 10% of humanity at least, I'm not talking about 50%. I mean, practice 10% of humanity. A lot of things will have been good. A lot of things will have been great. But I also don't believe that is a possibility, because I don't believe in peace. I don't believe that there can be peace in the world. The world is not created like that. Sorry, it can be controversial.
No, it's fine.
The world is not really created like that. It is just the concept of the world. That is how the world is. It's if not, there will have been peace. It's difficult. Not that you can't live in peace.
You don't talk too much to say you are proud. You talk too much to say he's lousy.
Exactly. The world is not designed. We're just being
one channel.
We're just being optimistic and praying for God. But if you really look at it, the world is not designed like that. Human beings are not designed like that. But I really hope
that we find peace around.
Yes, because peace is it's a good thing to have.
So are there times that things happen to you that you felt like, oh, damn this world, this shouldn't have happened? Like KP.
Yeah, KP.
KP, one of the finest writers in Nigeria.
Yeah. I don't think there's really any time, especially when I begin to understand my existence or begin to, because I don't think I understand life yet. I'm trying to understand life, but when I started being a little bit conscious of me, my environment, I don't really think there's anything that happened that I would like, oh, why did this thing happen? Oh, I would have actually questioned that when I lost my immediate younger brother. We were like twins.
He was a good person.
He was a great guy. He was a great writer. He's like the only guy that understands me, that I can tell my story to and takes it to another level, because we grew up together. Like, we were in the same class from GSS 2 till university. So we kind of lived together. So because of my stories are personal and my personal experience, so he saw me went through those experiences. So him living at a very young age, will have made me start questioning those things. But instead, it didn't somehow, because I believe you don't really have to live too long to make a mark in this world, because it could be you could go anytime. If you like, you live 100 years. There are people who have lived 100 years and they've not achieved anything.
Them,
You know what I mean? So I see my brother in the likes of people like them, Amy Winehouse, them Tupac, Bob Marley. Look at people, they died in their 30s. They died but look at their body of work. It was when I started editing my brother's autobiography, I started putting his works together, and I realized that, woo,
he has done a lot.
This guy has done so much, and you're wondering, what have you even done? So he has done his part and he's gone. I converted that into some sort of celebration of life, even though
some sort of energy.
He will have lived longer, but I don't really feel sad that my brother died, because it pained me. I think about him. I dream about him every time. I wish sometimes I'll just laugh. Some kind of story ideas will come to my head. This will have been the man. But he has lived his life and he has gone. So I don't think there are things I would say, oh, damn this world. No, we're just passing through the world.
Have you ever done a job that it comes out and you're disappointed with it?
Plenty. Plenty.
Like, this wasn't my vision.
Yeah, plenty. It happens, But the truth, apart from even the vision, it's I've come to a stage in my life now that, or not recently, it has, let me say, years back. It's a collective thing.
Yeah.
So once a job fails or I don't like it, somebody may like it. There are some jobs that I don't like and I don't even put my reel. And somebody will call me, I want something like that. Yeah. One man's piece, another man's poison. It just happens. So yeah, personally as an artist too, there are some works you see and you're like, it could have been better. Me, most of the works that I do that I don't really like is in the editing stage, the way it's being edited and stuff. And that even remind me, there was something you told me about 7 years ago or 8 years ago, that I took. I always try to, this is because I just asked now, I always beat myself when I look at my work. I'm like, this can be better. And I remember we shot a commercial, GT Bank SME Market Up commercial.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And we're looking at the rushes together. I was like, we will have done this. And you mentioned something to me. I said, Bishop, always praise your work, especially in front of the client. Don't say, praise your work in front of the client. Appreciate it, because you're going to have chance to do more again. So appreciate it. It must have come in at that time. But I anytime I think about, I don't like this, I always think about that word. So thank you for that, because you said it casually, because you've known me for a while and you always hear me. But I remember you said it with some sort of instruction. You were telling me.
So at the end, I was like, this guy could fire me after this job. Because what?
Yeah.
I've tried these in several ways, and somebody wants to introduce yourself, and you just want to play yourself down. Say, my name is Godwin, and then you leave.
Yeah.
And then after you leave, and then people say, "Oh, that's the guy." So it gave me an idea that it's what you let people hear or see that tints their picture about you, their vision about you. So I have learned to put the right picture in people's mind about my work. Yeah. And so I will be the first to tell you, if you see that shot, you go like him. And it's very psychological. Yeah. I know I'm doing a great job. Yeah. I know you were doing a great job. Yeah. But you wanted more chance. Yeah. You wanted, let's push more, we can get more. Which is what I really, really like about you. Like, you're never satisfied and you're not coasting. You do this job, the next one, you want to push it beyond that limit. What is next for you now in terms of your personal work? Are we expecting a feature length? Are we doing another short film?
Yeah, I have another short film coming out soon. I'm rounding up. I'm in the sound design stage now.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, I only shoot films when I have a story to tell, when I
tell,
have something I want to tell.
Not because I have
Not because
camera
I
and
can.
lights and
Yeah, nah,
sound.
nah, 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 nah. I don't. My inspirations are not work. Doesn't work that way. It's only when I have something, a story I want to tell. I now make the steps to tell it. So I have a short film coming out soon. So maybe it's going to be out before this comes out,
Yeah.
or probably
Yeah.
not. But I have a short film, and yeah, there's always something going on. There's always something in the pipeline. Maybe a feature will come out for me soon. I don't know, but that is also in the works. And yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's been a beautiful time talking with you.
Yeah.
But there's a lady somewhere who does not, it has the qualification, you have the skill, but you don't know, it doesn't know what to do with it, doesn't know what to move. For you, you rediscovered yourself. I have a degree, but I need to understand how this work. What would you tell that person?
You see, this is very important question, because if you see the industry today, it's very easy for people to blow. You could shoot something with your phone and you blow.
That's it.
So after that, what next? So
you might not be able to recreate that again.
Yes. So it's the I think I will encourage people to give themselves time to incubate their skills. Give themselves time to incubate their talent. I'll tell you a story. When I was doing my IT in Lagos, I could handle the camera from school then.
Yeah.
And I went into the studio and they didn't know. I did my IT there for 6 months. They did not know I could handle the camera.
Are you serious?
I shoved that. I never talked about it. I hid it under the carpet. And there's this man called Mr. Lucky, who I come to the office every day. And he felt that...
Mr. Lucky from AVF?
Yes, AVF, actually. And he thought that, oh, this boy actually came to learn. He now took it upon himself to teach me. So every day when I come into the office, after breakfast, he gets me, he say, go and bring a camera from the studio, from the store. After we've arranged all the camera, there's a shoot, clean the studio. He now telling me, this is where you on the camera, this is where you record this. And I kept mute.
And you were quiet.
I kept mute, and I was learning about that Sony P2 camera. I was learning about everything. He was showing me. I've never had experience with the camera before, but I could shoot. Not that I could not spend some time with it and maneuver it, but I was just listening, and he was just showing me every morning for 3 months. Whoa. And I was like, it was just exciting. He was very kind, loving man. And one day, when the office, I was even with the camera in my hand, the director of the studio then, YK, he just opened the studio door, and like, Bishop, I want to see you in my office. I was like, what have I done? I was scared, but I knew I would not have done anything. But I was wondering, because he's not a very, he doesn't, I was the last boy in the studio, so he doesn't really deal with me like that. He's only go and put this. And when I got to his office, I remember he just turned this system to me, and he showed me a film. He said, you shot this. It was Bios film in school.
He found you out.
He said, you shot this.
Oh, yeah, that Bios film.
And he said, it looks good. You shot this. I said, so you can do the camera? I said, yeah. He said, but why are you not hiding? I said, no, I came here to learn, so I don't need to come and say, I'm a cameraman, I came here to learn. And he followed me downstairs. He said, oh, there's a shoot tomorrow. It was a Friday, and there was a Saturday shoot. People don't come to work on Saturday. The guys already filming that documentary. They were not going to come, and they had appointment to interview somebody. So they just looked at who is going to go. Bishop. He probably has found me out a long time ago, but and he followed me back to the studio, and opened the door and told Mr. Lucky, prepare a camera. You're going to have a shoot tomorrow. We are assisting Bishop.
Your
and
teacher.
Mr. Lucky was. Okay, sir, what did you say? He said, yes. And that was how I left. And Mr. Lucky was standing there with his mouth open.
And looking at you.
And he didn't know what he heard. And that was how we went to the office. And yes, the next day, he followed me to the shoot. Very humbly, he assisted me. And when I was shooting, I saw at intervals, he was looking at me.
Like wondering.
And guess what? All what he taught me in that Panasonic P2 camera, that was the skill that I used to manipulate that camera at a quick time. So imagine, that's why you say when somebody is telling you an idea, something just keep quiet because you will learn more. So I encourage people to give themselves chance to incubate. I'm here today. I just realized that I'm almost getting to 2 decades in the industry.
Bro.
Yeah, because the film I'm editing now, my film that I'm shooting now, the short film I told you, are pictures I took 15 years ago. So I'm telling that story. So I'm like, oh, I've been around for so long like this. You know, this is now I'm beginning to, you know, confirm myself, seeing where I'm, you know, seeing the kind of story I want to tell, understanding my style, you know, or my purpose in this world. So it's like, you give yourself chance to incubate your skill, incubate your talent. People just attend a 3 weeks workshop or a 3 months workshop, stuff, you know, and I'm a certified director, I'm a certified cinematographer. I don't even call myself a cinematographer because I believe cinematography is a big boy game. It's a serious game. So sometimes I'm even scared to say I'm a director of photography, but I just do that sometimes when it's applicable because I try to do like it, you know. Give yourself time to incubate your talent, incubate yourself, and be humble, be hungry, to learn, be, you know. These days, people send me message every day in my DM. Oh, I want you to mentor me. So I now ask them why. Oh, because I want to follow you on set. They think you're making money. They think you're cashing crews. And I'm like, okay, you want to be a filmmaker. I want to be a cinematographer. Okay. The assignment I always give them is research 5 cinematographers around the world. Right? Pick 3 that you really like their style. Story. Right? That you like the film. Read about the cinematographers, right? Watch 5 films each of the cinematographers that you of that they've done, right? Yeah. And come back to me. They don't come back.
That's not the process they want to go through.
They don't come back. But trust me, if you go through that process,
you would have learned something.
You sometimes you will ask yourself, no, this is not my profession. I don't think this is for me. Or you ask yourself that, whoa. You discover yourself. You discover your purpose. You discover that what you're getting into is a divine calling and it's not just for making money. And so I will encourage young people to, or younger people than me who's coming up, because I'm still a young man, is, you know, it's incubate your talent, incubate your skill. You know, don't be too quick to claim titles. But it works for some people, especially in the industry we are now. So sometimes you don't really blame people who do those because people want you to brag. People want you to
name names
before they can get you a job or something. But deep down, on the other hand, incubate yourself, learn, you know, research about masters, people from the 70s, the 40s, go deep into early cinema and read about the cinematographers who craft, because nothing you want to do today, if you like, you do, nothing you want to do that has been done before. So that is my only advice. Humility, hunger, you know, and most important, integrity. You must have that integrity because art and integrity goes hand in hand.
Are we ever expecting a reggae album?
Whoa, music is something I'm still going to do someday because, you know, I remember when I was in school, I found music after I didn't see music, I found music when I was in my degree stage. I found somebody who saw I could sing and, you know, invited me to the studio and I did like 4 songs. So when I was coming to Lagos,
when I
was coming to Lagos, right, I came to Lagos with a demo. Many people don't know this story.
Whoa.
I came to Lagos with a demo with 4 tracks, and I came to Lagos with a show reel of film. And before I got opportunity to do film, I was doing music. I was going to shows, National Theatre. Thank God it's Friday. I used to sing. I was not this artist. I used to warm stage. I used to do all those, you know. But the day I got opportunity to do film, to just, Bishop, come, let's work, you know, come and work on my TV series or so. I never had the chance to do music again. I just, you know, flew from there. So yes,
I remember we played Bringing the Kaya like
So music is a strong part of me because it's I don't know. I can't imagine my life without music. Music is a major source of inspiration to me, especially now. African music, African jazz, reggae, highlife. You know,
Lagos just pick one.
Lagos just, man.
Retirement.
I'll pick Jos 100%.
Yeah.
I want to be in the mountains alone somewhere.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
I know, with the cold and
Lagos
everything.
is come,
Come
you know,
hustle
make the
and make the
money,
money.
also,
Yeah.
and you know, you go hide somewhere and you
Exactly.
know, reinvent your energy. And, yeah.
Bishop, at some point you were with Danny.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you were there for a bit. And then run us through, and then how did you know it was time to move on? I to some extent I knew that Danny then was a bit comfortable. It was a bit, just the salary is big, small. How did you know that, oh, this place I need to go, even though it's comfortable?
In Danny, surprisingly, right?
Yeah.
In Danny is the only place I've worked.
Wow.
Like, I have never done any other thing apart from film in my life. You know, from secondary school, I went straight to the film school. From film school, I came into the industry. So I've not done any other thing until I was freelancing, and Daniel F. Young, you know, told me one day that, would I like to work on Danny TV? And I'm, okay. Then, you know, I thought I needed some sort of administrative experience, you know, which I always encourage people to do. To, you know, you must try to work under someone if you can, you know. Although luckily for me, I have worked as an assistant. I've worked with lots of people. So yeah. So in Danny was that place I got administrative experience. In Danny was that place I learned a lot, you know, editing, you know. So Danny just told me, would you like to work in Danny TV? I said, okay, let me try, let me see. Then I was already freelancing. I was making a name for myself.
Sure.
You know.
That was after
leaving Funeral.
It
was even the
Daniel's
same year.
song.
Yeah,
Daniel's film, I mean.
Yeah.
Crimson.
Crimson, yes.
Yeah.
It was after Crimson because we shot Crimson in Danny office. Yeah, you were the gaffer for Crimson,
sure.
man. This guy. You know, after Crimson, so that was when he just started working there as well too, and you know, and he introduced me to Jade, who was the boss, and Jade saw my reel and I got employed straight up. I remember they were paying me 300K, I mean 350K.
Yeah.
At that time, you know.
There was big juice then.
Yeah. And I said, okay, let me just work for 1 year. Yeah. That's why I ended up spending about 3 or 4 years in Danny, you know. But Danny was a home. In Danny, Mohammed Atta, who is a great DP today, was my desk mate. You know, Frank Donga started there. Frank Donga was my desk mate. Folu Storms, who's one of the most adventurous people I know. She's an OAP and a great talent. She was there. Femi, who is the head of Red TV now, was there. T-Base, Tega, Casey, you know, Ni Okowo is one of the most ambitious, you know, graphic designer was there. Uche. So there were people in Danny that it was a pillar.
Incubating, you know, ready to grow.
So I got into Danny just like, you know, every other person. Let me just work. And so I started shooting and editing. Jade is the kind of person that, you know, my story can't be complete without mentioning the name of Jade, because she woke, you know, a certain part of me. She made me have confidence in myself. She made me, remember we'll be in the meeting and I'll be whispering an idea to her. She said, no, Bishop, speak out. It's your idea. Speak up. You know, she's that kind of person. And from directing, you know, from handling the camera, she was like, you shoot and you edit your work. So from there, I was editing. Mohammed Atta was there. He was teaching me editing. Sometimes when he's not around, Uche or Femi, you know, And, you know, we're just enjoying it. And from Danny, one day I was just in my decks and Jade came and like, Bishop, there is a show. Folu had an idea of a show that needs to be shot around African cities, and I feel you're the one that can handle that. And that was how I saw myself traveling around African cities, you know, shooting the new Africa show. And it was like, after you shoot it, you have to edit it. Wow. So I shot and I edit and I did all those things. And but it was a very divine moment. And 4 years, in that same place, I got married. I had my daughter. You know, you needed that stability too. I got my first car. You know, a golf car, and you know, and
a golf car like a DJ booth.
Exactly. So in that place, in Danny was that place for me. But at the time, you know, as I was going, I started realizing that, you know, my calling is beyond that.
Yeah.
It's beyond Ndani, because Ndani is more for TV online.
yeah.
You know, even though the works were great,
But you need
sometimes
something
I
bigger.
look into the work today. I look to some of the works that are like, these are beautiful,
Yeah.
you know,
To be
documentaries and
honest,
stuff.
yeah.
But you know, you always have to move on. You always have to move on. You always there must be, it's exodus.
Time to
You
go.
can't be in one space. You know, and at the time I told myself, well, I think it's time to move on. You know, so I went back into freelancing.
You moved from corporate to back to
Yes, I went back to the streets, and then I didn't even know what I was going to do. My second child was on the way. I was bored, actually. I was not that bored because it was a creative process, but I was bored on, you know, this 9 to 5 idea. You go to work in the morning and come back in the evening. I live on the mainland. You have to drive all the way to the island, and you know. So I was already getting tired. I wanted to do more. I needed time for myself. I needed time to write. I needed time to develop my own stories, but there was no time. And I just told myself one day, man, I don't know what the industry owes for me. I don't know what the next step is going to be. I have to move. I have to create space too for younger guys coming up. KC was there, you know, Tega was there, T-Base was there. You know, we have to, you know, the old must go away for the new to grow, you know. So I had to create that space, and and I left Ndani, and I went back to the streets.
Wow.
You know.
Thank you so much. There's a question I'm tempted to ask.
Yeah.
The contribution of National Film Institute into the Nigerian film industry.
Wow. You can't even beat that. You can't compare that. It's even now that there are institutions, you know, because of the way the internet is open now, the materials, and you know, it's more, I wouldn't say easy now. It's more accessible now to be a filmmaker than before. So the National Film Institute, it's it was a divine grant for me, because most of the skills I have today, most of the dedication, most of the discipline I have today, I saw, I learned, and I observed from people like Kenneth Gang, people like Leonard Ufomi, people like My Steve, people like Makusare, you know, and also the academic environment where you had people like you, people like, you know, people who we used to. Every evening, I was the youngest in that hostel. Every evening, we'll go rent a film from a CD. I said VHS from Video Max.
In the common room.
We have a card and we sit in the common room and slot it in the common room, and you're analyzing films and you're learning. So it's like they will ask this person, what do you think about this? Ask this person, you ask person. So you must have something to say. You must and again, you're also watching people, you know, and that is one thing very important, very, very important, that I also want to encourage young people. You see, show me your friend and I'll tell you who you are. There's lots of great people I see that have talent. There's something, but because of their association, because of the people,
kind of people they go around with.
Yes, so you must always go for people who have depth, people who can bring out something in you,
out of you.
You know, people who you learn from. Like me, now I want to work with people always who are better than me. People who you can bounce ideas with, people who are taking your ideas to another level and stuff like that. People who have this hunger for something, you know. Yes, so those were the kind of people I saw in NFI. So true. NFI has done so much in giving back to the industry,
transforming
so much, you know, even though it may not be in a large quantity, but it could be 1-2 people who have empowered
others,
like a tree, others, exactly. You know, and it's a I just pray that, you know, the school gets, you know, more support and you know, and people should, you know, try to embrace academic institution when it comes to filmmaking. But the truth is, you mustn't need to go to a film school to be a filmmaker. Exactly. But trust me, the film environment, film school environment, just like a mechanic who studied engineering and goes back to the street, and a mechanic who learns from the street. You see, they both have an advantage, but one puts you in So I encourage people to, even though you mustn't go to a film school, try to associate yourself with, you must understand the academics of films. So you can't take that away.
Exactly.
The academics of films add to your practical knowledge as an artist.
Thank you very much, Bishop.
Yeah.
Once again.